It's time for JUCO Jam, presented to you by Dream Big Athletics, hosted by Tad Slowick, an exciting new podcast bringing you all the great action from JUCO baseball. Here you'll find weekly updates from around the country, highlighting the teams, players, and coaches who impact the game at the junior college level. Everything you want to learn about JUCO baseball can be found here and on our website at dreambigathletics.com. There you'll find our weekly team rankings, the top player rankings headed into the spring, and all the news of what is happening in the game at the junior college level. On this show, you will have many guests, coaches, players who will give us insight on the day-to-day, behind-the-scenes working of junior college baseball. And now our host, Tad Slowick.
Welcome, baseball fans, to another episode of the JUCO Jam Baseball Podcast, brought to you by Dream Big Athletics. I'm your host, Tad Slowick, and I got again here with me my good friend Lou Temple. How you doing today, Lou?
Woo-wee, fishing's fine, Tad. Fishing's fine. It's good to be here, and we are jamming yet again on JUCO Jam. Very excited about today because we're going to shift again, talk a little bit about players, very specifically breaking them down with your breakdown of the players. But before we get too far off into that, we got to talk a little bit about what's been going on this week. Catch us up, Tad.
Well, down in Florida, we had that big series between Central Florida and Santa Fe, and it's been a crazy one so far. And Santa Fe has taken the first two games. First game was a 4-0 victory at Central Florida. Tobin Moran threw a great game for them. And then yesterday's game was a barn burner. We had to go into extra innings, and Santa Fe prevailed at home 6-5. They played the third game of the series again today, but that series has just been all it's lived up to be. We had Coach Marty Smith from Central Florida and Coach Johnny Wiggs on our last podcast to talk about their teams, and there's plenty of talent on both those teams, and it's been an exciting series so far. So.
That's the kind of baseball that we expected to happen, and I'm assuming that today's game will be no different.
I was down at John Logan, downstate Illinois, for that big rivalry between Wabash Valley and John Logan. That's the premier matchup every year, big rivalry game. Both of those two usually fight it out to see who wins that region and moves on, and it didn't disappoint. Both teams were ready to go and got after it. The weather was actually pretty good, so it was, a great day for baseball. And, Wabash Valley jumped on top real quick, and then John Logan came back and was playing well. And then Wabash turned the tables on them and got up to a big lead. And then John Logan in the last inning had a tying run on third base. They came all the way back, and it was a 7-6 final. But like I said, Logan had a tying run on third base and a chance to tie it. So that series will go again this weekend, and there's two more games, and it's just going to be an exciting one. Those teams will play several times before the year's out. So.
Yeah, well, like you said, it didn't disappoint. Those teams teed it up, going toe-to-toe, big series, and some great players. I'm sure you saw some players that were excited to see, and they did what you thought they could do, I think.
Yeah, you just touch on a couple of those. There's plenty of talent on the field from both teams, and we're just going to touch on a couple players. A player we talked about early in the year, he's pretty high on the overall JUCO rankings as players in the country, and that's Ben Higdon, our right fielder for John A. Logan. He's 6'3", 210 pounds, left-handed hitter, right-handed thrower, strong athlete. This kid has a really advanced approach at the plate, really good balance, and good ability to drive the ball to all fields. I mean, he really does a great job mechanically keeping his hands inside the ball and squaring up pitches pretty much on a consistent basis. He's got a lot of hard contact, a lot of loud contact, and, he's able to pick up on the pitchers pretty well. He tracks pitches real well, and, his power is going to be usable too. He's such a good and polished hitter that, he's going to be able to use that power, that plus power that he has and drive in some runs and hit some home runs for some team. He's going to be a run producer at the next level, a middle of the order type guy, a guy you want in the middle of the order to help drive in those runs. Outfield wise, defensively, he's got good instincts, takes real good routes to the ball. His throws are accurate and have carry with the ability to throw from right field. He had a play during the game on Thursday, which was a bang play at the plate where he made a good strong throw and almost threw out the Wabash Valley base runner. So this kid's got great makeup. He's a good kid. He's got a high baseball IQ, the ability to make adjustments at the plate. I see pro ball in this guy's future. I see him as an everyday outfielder. He's committed to go to Kentucky, so it'll be interesting to see where his future lands at the end of the season. But he's having a great year, really swinging the bat well for the Volunteers over at John Logan.
Well, that sounds like a player that we want to keep our eye on and see more. And I'm glad you got to see him do his thing, man. He's got some tools, no doubt.
Yeah, just a good, hard-nosed, steady player who gets it done between the white lines, no doubt about that. The next player to talk about is a left-handed pitcher from Wabash Valley, a guy who started a game for them, Jacob Frost. Really like this kid. I mean, he really pitches. He gets after people. He's 6'2", 210 pounds, strong physical body, big lower, strong lower half. I mean, the kid is well put together. I mean, he uses his legs when he pitches and really does a good job. He's got a 3/4 delivery, real quick arm. I saw him early in the year where right out of the gate, his velo was just in the upper 80s at the time, and he still knew how to pitch and knew how to get things done. But, he's tuned it up a little bit here. He comes right after hitters and pounds the zone. His fastball is 90 to 93. He's got that good classic late tail and sink that you like on the left-handed hitters that just runs away from those righties and gives them a hard time. He's got a real good spin on a sharp slider. He's got a big break on it. Got late diving action. And one of his best pitches is his changeup. I mean, he's really got a good feel for a changeup. He's got good arm speed. He's got deception, tail, sink. Ball bottoms out once in a while. Just a good pitch to keep hitters off balance. He mixes up effectively and just keeps hitters off stride. Just knows how to pitch. He's capable of throwing all 3 pitches for strikes. And all of his pitches, the good thing about it is they all change planes. They all have that kind of late diving action, which misses barrels. And, not a lot of people get a chance to square them up too often. I could see this guy definitely in a pro uniform one day. He's a left-handed pitcher. He's a strong physical kid. He's got a good arm, and he's got good stuff. So he's committed to Kansas State. So, like I said, we'll see what he does at the end of this year.
I love hearing about a lefty who has a good life and feel for the ball and hitters, how to get them out. So he's got a big future lined up.
Yeah, I mean, and especially I love to see the left-handed changeup. I mean, I played with a guy named Jamie Moyer, who pitched like 23 years, I think, in the big leagues, and he just hung around because he had a great changeup. I mean, he threw in the upper 80s tops, and even at the end of his career, I think he was low to mid 80s, and but he had that devastating changeup. It was a big pitch for him, and he kept hitters off stride. So he made a hell of a career with just off that changeup left-hander. So
yeah,
good lesson for you, lefties.
Timing. Hitting is timing, and pitching is throwing off timing. So he sounds like somebody that has a chance to really rise in the game.
Yeah, well, we got Drew Pesca. He's a right-handed pitcher at John A. Logan there. And he's a big, strong kid. He's 6'5", 225. He's got that pro-type body, strong, solid all the way through, big physical presence on the mound, 3/4 delivery. He's got a quick arm. His fastball is 91 to 94 with plus life. You know, he had that good late tail on it. He's got that sink on it occasionally with that, you know, throws that heavy ball, which will induce a lot of ground balls and missed barrels. So ball comes out of his hands real good. You know, it gets on hitters real quick. He's got real good spin on a sharp downer or breaking ball. It's a big pitch. It's big and it gets nasty at times. You know, he's got some good bite to it. You know, that's a pitch that hitters will swing and miss definitely on. And he's also got a good feel for a change with, you know, that deception. He's got some tail and sink on it. And, you know, it's more of a developing pitch for him. But, you know, I think it's going to be an effective pitch for him down the road. He just needs to throw it a little bit more often. You know, he's a kid. He's a freshman out of high school. And he, you know, basically those guys don't have to throw their changeup too often when they got his kind of stuff in high school. So,
not much.
You know, the college level is a good time for those pitchers to develop changeups. If they come in with a changeup, it's great. But, you know, he's a good-looking kid. There were plenty of pro scouts out there and some cross-checkers at this game, obviously, to watch both teams. But they had their eye on Pesca pretty good. So another guy I want to talk about during this game is we've talked about him in our previous episodes is Louis Philippe Langevin, right-handed pitcher for Wabash Valley, 6'2", 210 pounds. He's got that good three-quarter delivery, the quick arm, fastball 91-94 with that plus life, late tail and sinking action on it too. He's got tight spin and deception on a real good slider, 82-83 with a sharp late break, good diving action. And his feature pitch that I really like for him, and we just spoke about it with these other guys, is that he's got a plus changeup right now. I mean, he's got real good arm speed and deception on that changeup. He's got good late tail and sink, and occasionally he'll get that ball just come in and just bottom out. Uses it very effectively. He's got a good three pitch mix. And, you know, he's got a chance for that change to be a little bit of a difference maker in his repertoire. You know, he's athletic, repeats his delivery. You make a couple minor adjustments on him and, you know, just to get him a little bit more consistent. This kid's got good upside. He's headed for University of Louisiana, but I see a pro opportunity somewhere in this guy's future also.
Man, these young guys that are finding their changeup so early in their pitching life is really a credit to the coaches that they're working with, and also their pitching aptitude on the mound to be able to develop and get a feel for a change. It's not easy, right?
Right. A pitching is such a feel pitch. I mean, I tell kids you got to throw thousands of them before you get to true feel. You may throw some plenty of good ones along the way, but to get the true feel for it, it's just going to take thousands and thousands of reps to really get that true feel, because it's a finesse pitch. And, you know, young pitchers especially want to slow their body down to trick people. And, you know, that's not the way to do it. I mean, the guys who have the best changeups have really good arm speed with it, and they got that real good touch at the end off their fingertips to really kind of get that backspin. It's almost like a Bugs Bunny pitch, you know, get that backspin on that changeup and get those guys out on that front foot or swing and miss. So it's you know, like you said, it's good to see some of these guys making progress on these pitches, because they're going to need it, you know, especially if you're a starter. You know, if you're a two-pitch reliever, it's a different story. But if you're a starter, you definitely got to have a changeup in your repertoire. You need something to keep those hitters off balance. We'll talk about Will Clements right here now. He's a right-handed pitcher. We just saw him last week at McLennan, 6'5", 210 pounds, right-handed pitcher, high three-quarter delivery. He's got a quick arm also. Ball comes out of his hand real good. You know, he's 91-95 with plus life. I mean, he's got that really good tail on his fastball, and he's got that heavy sink, that heavy ball that just induces a lot of ground balls, a lot of outs, and, you know, just misses the barrel of bat. So he's got a really good, effective pitches off his fastball real well. He's got a tight deceptive slider, 82, 84, with his hard diving action. As you can see in this video here, he's got that action that's going to swing and miss on hitters. Get a lot of strikeouts on that pitch. His changeup has good arm speed. It's got deception and sink. He's strong, athletic, good-looking kid who repeats his delivery and throws strikes, likes to compete. He's got pretty good command of his 3 pitches. I think out of all these guys we talked about, he might be as farther along as being polished as anybody. And, this is a guy I see someday in somebody's pro rotation. I mean, he's got all the gifts to be a starter, and, I see him at the professional level definitely someday. So, good looking kid.
He's a guy we've watched, throw the ball by hitters, induce some ground balls to get some double plays. Certainly we've seen that. And like you say, the command of the 3 pitches, and he's a horse too. He's strong. So
yeah, he's definitely big and strong. And, he's a guy that, I've seen really good. He's got a really good mental makeup too. He's come back after, he got tagged last week off a home run from Weatherford, and then didn't leave up a run the rest of the game. So, I mean, there's a guy who can come back and is not afraid to, throw the ball in the strike zone.
They're all big, strong, physical types who have, developed great arm actions and learned to pitch and continue to do so. And again, the junior college level.
Well, and let's talk about another big, strong, physical type and stay in the state of Texas. And we can discuss Jake Bennett, the catcher for San Jacinto. I mean, he's a big 6'2", 220-pound right, just a hoss. I mean, this kid is an absolute beast. He's a big-time physical player who can really swing the bat. I mean, I can't say enough about this kid. I love watching him play, just the way he attacks the game. He's got a good approach at the plate. He's got plus raw power. I mean, he hits the ball. I guess he hit a ball like about 450 early in the year, and just been able to tear it up and really lead that San Jacinto offense. His power is usable too, because, he's got a good approach at the plate, and he's able to square the ball up consistently. He could drive the ball out to any part of the ballpark. It doesn't matter to him. I mean, he's just going to be a guy who's, can drive the ball to all fields. He's going to be a run producer, hitting home runs and driving in our runs at the next level. So I really think this kid has just got the whole package at the plate right now, and just looks good. There's a little knock on him a little bit behind the plate, but I really think his defense is real solid behind the plate. He's got first step quickness to block balls and save runs. He handles the pitches real well. He's got ability to get his pitchers some extra strikes, and he's got the throwing ability to keep, the running game in check. He's got some carry on his throws. He's got a pretty good release, and just needs to clean up a few things that most college-age kids do. And, Lou, you caught, and you know what the progress and the evolution of these catchers is. And, their craft is really never perfected until they get to the highest of levels, basically.
Yeah, and even then, there's continual improvement. Like you say, it's the evolution of the catching position and the skill set that's required to progress has just increased so much. Now we're really focused on pitch framing. We're really focused on giving the umpire a good read. We're down on one knee. Jake seems to be very athletic. Jake seems to be athletic enough. You talked about his quick feet to be able to develop the needed defensive skills. He also seems to have a lot of aptitude as an athlete to make adjustments, of which I'm sure that he will do. He's a get-it-done type of guy. He does it at the plate. He's going to do it defensively. So I'd play him catching, and his bat will play anywhere, as you said. And I just think, continue to develop him as a catcher. It doesn't surprise me a lick that he's making the adjustments he does in a great program like San Jacinto, and that he's getting a lot of attention also being at that program and hitting 450-foot home runs. as a right-handed catcher, 6'2", 220. So I like Tony Bennett, but I also like Jacob Bennett. So he's high on my.
That's the Bennett you like, huh? Okay.
Yep, that's the Bennett I'm betting on. Yes.
Right. Well, I mean, this kid, he's a worker. He's in the weight room all the time. He's a leader. And for me, this guy is one of the top players, if not the top player in junior college baseball. And his bat is so loud, it gets so much attention that I think sometimes it overshadows his ability to catch, And a guy with this kind of work ethic is going to get it done. He's going to work until he needs to.
We talk about a guy like Pete Alonso who just works tirelessly at first base to improve his defense all the time. And that guy's got a loud bat and really puts in the work, and he's a team leader. And I just see a lot of the same earmarks with Jake. But there's a live athlete you're going to talk about next that's also very exciting, kind of different. Who's that, Tad?
That's a guy who's really having a great weekend down in Central Florida, and that's Jelani Rogers, center fielder from Santa Fe. I mean, I saw this guy early in the year, and he just stood out for me right away. Right now, he's not getting maybe as much love as he should, but, this kid can flat out play. I mean, he's 6 foot, 195-pound center fielder, right guy. Live athletic body. I mean, this kid, he stands out just running around on the field, just, going out to his position. He's a plus runner. I mean, he could play center field. He takes good routes to the ball, gets a good jump. He could outrun a few balls. I saw him go after a ball in the gap earlier in the year I didn't think he was going to get to, and he's got that good closing speed that really could get to the ball. And, I know if I'm pitching out on the mound, I want him out there in center field covering those gaps. I mean, when you get that special center fielder out there who can cover a lot of ground, it sure helps you out as a pitcher, and obviously as a team. He's got a really good approach at the plate, can really swing the bat. He can hit with power. Basically a 5-tool guy right here with some real good upside too. I mean, if he puts it even more all together, I mean, he's going to be a good player at the next level. I think he's got great makeup, and he's getting the job done against top level Florida competition. I could see this guy in pro ball someday, and I think, he can definitely flourish at the Division I level. I mean, this guy's really a player for me, and I think he's going to start getting a lot more attention, especially after this weekend. He had a couple triples yesterday, and triples aren't easy to get. I mean, you got to be able to run and really hit the ball well to get those triples. So
sounds like he's got some Torrey Hunter in him. This is a great story because I think you were saying, Tad, that he's a transfer from a 4-year, maybe wasn't getting the opportunity to play, maybe physically hadn't developed just quite yet. His skill set wasn't getting him at bats. So he makes a change, which is never an easy decision.
Yeah, he came from Florida Gulf Coast.
Finds himself at a junior college level, not just any junior college level, but he's playing for Santa Fe, which is a great junior college program. And like you say, is playing at a level of competition where you have to take notice. And he's right in the middle of this. And it's just a great story. It's a win-win. And it speaks again to why junior college baseball works and what a great opportunity it is.
We're correct. And we had Johnny Wiggs on our last podcast here. Him and Marty Smith talked about the preview of the game. And, Johnny Wiggs from Santa Fe talked about, the development process there at Santa Fe and what they do. And, this kid's just a great example of getting an opportunity to get things done. And, he's used his opportunity to the best of his ability. And, like you said, it's a great story. He's an exciting kid, a good kid. And, I hope nothing but best for him.
Have we got a commit from him just yet, Tad?
No, he is uncommitted right now. And, I think he's gotten attention, but I think, especially after this weekend with what he's doing, I think you're going to see him get quite a bit of attention. I wouldn't worry too much about Jelani right now.
I'm excited to see how it plays out. Yeah. But right now I'm just happy he's in the middle on the top of that Santa Fe lineup and doing his thing, and Santa Fe's doing theirs. So it's very, very exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and then the last player we're going to talk about today is Brady Circonic. I think I finally pronounced that name correctly. Brady Circonic. He's a catcher from Connor State, 6 foot, 185 pounds, a right guy. Saw him recently play against Crowder, and this guy just got a strong, durable body. He's a good size, very advanced approach at the plate. I really like this kid, and he's got that innate timing and balance that is, you find in real good hitters. He's able to track pitches well. He doesn't get off balance. And then he's got those strong wrists and forearms and the bat speed to where that ball really jumps off his bat a lot differently than the other players you're watching out on the field. The ball really just absolutely jumps off his bat. He's got the ability to drive the ball to all fields. He's got plus power to all fields. He's one of those guys who probably was hitting right out of the cradle, a guy who hit all the way along through Little League and everything, high school level, and is just one of those guys who was just born to hit. Behind the plate, again, he's got solid receiving skills, blocks and receives the ball well. He's got a quick release on his throws. They're accurate. He's athletic, just needs to, like we talked about with Bennett also, just needs to clean some things up and improve his craft behind the plate. But, just a good player. I think his bat's going to always have him in the lineup somewhere. He's a freshman right now. He's from Toronto, Canada. He's a tough kid with great makeup. He just loves to play. I love watching this kid play. And he may also, Lou, have one of the best bat flips we've seen all year. And that could be one of the finalists as far as the bat flip he did against Crowder when he drove that double to right center to clear the bases. You guys can see that on video here. So, I think this bat's going to take him to the professional level. He's still got a lot of time ahead of him. He's only a freshman at the junior college level, but, I think his bats will eventually play at the professional level, and we'll see what he could do from there. But he's got a good future ahead of him, good career, Canadian kid. We're rooting for him. I like this kid.
Yeah, I can tell you like him. And, those kids from Canada are tough. They're hockey players. He's catching up on his reps in baseball, coming from a snowbound country, Toronto, where there's a lot of weather. So he's getting more baseball than he's ever had, and just continues to do so. I always find it interesting with these kind of guys. The difference with this guy is that you're talking about his bat. And, a couple guys that we're familiar with, one in particular for you, Scott Makaravich, and the other one, Scott Service, two Scotts in the Houston organization we were both attached to, were guys that had solid defensive abilities whose bat was always the question. And this guy sounds like he has solid defensive abilities, but his bat is maybe not a question. And we see that from guys like Todd Zeal, who have gone through the systems. And, catching is a demanding job. And it's, when you're catching him, and it doesn't give you time to think about your hitting. So I'm excited to see Brady's continual development, and the fact that you've seen him so much and so good lately and have high marks for him. I think that's really exciting, particularly as a catcher.
Yeah, I just like watching that's the one great thing. And, I got the trip out to the West Coast coming up here, out to Arizona, and then I'll run through Texas, run through the Midwest a little bit too, just kind of run around. But I love being out at the ballpark because I could really see what these players are all about. It's great to see them on film and see them on TV and things like that. But nothing like being a scout and being in person, watching these guys and watching their mannerisms, how they handle adversity in between, mistakes, walking back to the dugout, how they interact with their teammates and everything like that. All those little things tell me so much about a player and, besides his ability. And, that just, players who really are able to handle the game well and are good teammates are the guys that seem to flourish at the next level.
These players that you've talked about and outlined today, Tad, are all players on really good programs, and they are helping their teams win and be good programs. We're not talking about, big fish in little ponds. We're talking about big fish in big ponds here. And
right.
These guys are showing up and, delivering the mail. So that's impressive. This was a lot of fun, no doubt. And I look forward to continuing to evaluate players. I think that's important. That's a big part of what you do. It's a skill set that you have that not many have. And to share it with us is really a gift. So thank you for that. I'm excited for your trip heading west. You're going to see more baseball than Picasso's got paint, and that's okay. I want to hear all about it on our next JUCO Jam.
Yeah, definitely. And for all the rankings this week, we'll have the new rankings out. So you could go to dreambigathletics.com and take a peek at those after Central Florida got knocked off a couple times. And then, Eunice still rolls at the D2 level at 30-0, and Caldwell Tech at Division III is staying at the top of the heap. And got a lot of exciting baseball. Next week, we'll get back to talking a little bit more about the teams and in depth. But I love talking players. I love talking about the great talent that junior college baseball has player-wise. So it was a lot of fun today, Lou.
Well, you do it well, Tad, and I think that's exactly why people tune in to hear you talk about them. Thanks for having me, and I look forward to being back next week.
All right. Stay tuned for another episode of the JUCO Jam, sponsored by Dream Big Athletics. You guys have a great day. Take care.
You've been listening to JUCO Jam. For all your junior college needs, go to dreambigathletics.com and make sure to tune in to next week's episode of JUCO Jam.